My 9-year-old's coach said kids from broken homes don't deserve to play after my wife died, so I exposed him and his darkest secrets for the world to see. Now he's behind bars and his own daughter testified against him. A year after my wife died, my 9-year-old daughter Lily finally tried to play soccer again. "Do you think Mom can see me from heaven?" she asked. I told her absolutely. The team coach, Bradley Morrison, came highly recommended. 2-time regional championships, played D1 in college, ran summer camps for elite players. During tryouts, he shook my hand firmly and said all the right things about building character through sport. But something felt off when he barely looked at Lily during introductions. And during the first and second practice, Lily never left the bench. Same with the second and third. By game 2, when she sat there for 90 minutes straight while other girls rotated positions, I figured it was just some sort of misunderstanding. So as soon as practice ended, I approached Morrison. He immediately pulled me aside to where no one could listen. "Mike, can I be straight with you?" he asked. His tone was harsh. I nodded. "I've been coaching for 15 years. Children from broken homes, single parents, divorce, death. It creates weak players. Playing time goes to kids from intact families." "She lost her mother!" I exclaimed. Rage boiled my blood. I literally couldn't process what I was hearing. "Exactly my point," he said while shrugging. I wanted to tear him a new one, but I couldn't, because Lily was staring at me from the car, wide-eyed and hopeful, so I channeled my rage into something productive. That weekend, I posted on the community Facebook page, "Free soccer skills clinic every Saturday morning. All kids are welcome. No experience needed." The response was immediate. Turns out, Morrison had quite a few bench warmers. Kevin, whose parents just divorced. Maria, living with her aunt while her mom was in rehab. By the third Saturday, we had 28 kids showing up to Lincoln Park. I taught them everything I remembered from Sarah's old playbooks. Basic drills, footwork, but mostly just let them play. By week 4, our Saturday group had grown to almost 40 kids. What started as a simple skills clinic became something bigger. These kids were finding their confidence again. Word spread through the soccer community. Parents started asking why so many kids from Morrison's team were attending outside training. Some even pulled their kids from his team entirely. The following Thursday at official practice, Morrison was different. His usual commanding presence had been replaced with something darker. He made Lily and the other bench kids run laps for the entire practice, while the good players scrimmaged. When parents started murmuring, he barked that they needed extra conditioning. I would have said something, but Lily needed to finish the season for her own sense of accomplishment. But after practice, Morrison cornered me in my car. His face was nearly purple with rage. "You think you're some kind of hero, running your little pity party in the park?" His breath reeked of coffee and something sharper. "You're poisoning these kids' minds, making them think participation matters more than excellence." I kept my voice steady. "Every child deserves to play. That's what youth sports is about." That's when he snapped. "Your wife is probably spinning in her grave watching you turn her daughter into a loser. Maybe cancer was her escape plan." The words stung worse than any physical blow could have, but Lily was approaching, so I just turned and walked away. Morrison shouted after me, "This isn't over! You just destroyed everything I've built." I assumed it was just the ranting of a bitter man. I'd never been more wrong about anything in my life. Fast forward to 5 days later. It was Tuesday morning, and I was driving Lily to school. The police lights appeared out of nowhere. My hands instinctively gripped the wheel tighter. "License and registration," the officer said, but his partner was already circling my car with a flashlight. "Sir, we received a tip about suspicious activity involving this vehicle. Mind if we take a look?" Before I could respond, they had me out of the car. Lily's voice was small from the back seat. "Daddy, what's happening?" The younger officer was under my passenger seat when he emerged holding a small baggie, white powder. My stomach dropped to my feet. "Sir, I'm going to need you to put your hands behind your back." The next few minutes were a blur, the cold metal on my wrists, Lily's terrified sobbing, other parents slowing down to stare, and then I saw it. Morrison's white truck parked at the gas station across the street. He was leaning against it, arms crossed, watching everything unfold. When our eyes met, he gave a small salute and mouthed something I couldn't make out. They put me in the squad car while a female officer tried to calm Lily down. My daughter's screams cut through everything. "My dad doesn't do substances. Test him. Someone put that there." As we drove away, leaving my terrified daughter with a neighbor who'd stopped to help, one thought consumed me. Morrison had orchestrated this whole thing, and I was going to make him pay. The holding cell smelled like bleach and despair. I paced the concrete floor, my dress shoes clicking against the cold surface. Every few minutes, I'd check the clock on the wall, watching time crawl by while my daughter was out there, scared and confused. The other men in the cell kept their distance, probably sensing the raw fury radiating off me. The booking process had been humiliating. Fingerprints, mugshot, the works. The officers kept asking if I wanted to come clean about my supplier. I repeated the same thing over and over. "Test me, test my blood, test my hair, test whatever you want. I don't do substances, never have." But they just nodded like they'd heard it all before. My phone call went to my elderly parents. Mom's voice cracked when she heard where I was calling from. Dad took over, his usually strong voice trembling as he promised to pick up Lily from school and keep her safe. I could hear Mom crying in the background, asking how this could happen to their son, who'd never even gotten a speeding ticket. The arraignment was set for Thursday morning. 3 days away. 3 days of Lily wondering why her dad was in jail. 3 days of Morrison spreading his poison throughout the soccer community. I slammed my fist against the wall, ignoring the sharp pain that shot through my knuckles. A guard appeared appeared at the cell door. Mike Coleman, your lawyer's here. The public defender looked about 12 years old and overwhelmed. She shuffled through papers while explaining that possession charges were serious, especially the amount they claimed to find. The field test showed positive for C. Kane. I told her about Morrison, about the threats, about seeing his truck. She wrote it down, but her expression said it all. Everyone claims they were framed. Wednesday crawled by. I learned that Lily was staying with my parents, that she'd refused to go to school. Dad said she just sat by the window, waiting for me to come home. The image of her there, confused and alone, made my chest tight. Sarah would have known exactly what to say to comfort her. I just had walls and bars between us. That night, I barely slept. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw Morrison's smug face. By morning, exhaustion and anger had morphed into something colder, more focused. I was going to hit this, and then I was going to destroy him. Thursday morning arrived with a bang on the cell door. Coleman, court transport! The courtroom was smaller than I'd expected. My parents sat in the front row, Mom clutching Dad's arm, and then I saw him, my brother Ryan. We hadn't spoken in 3 years, not since the argument at Sarah's funeral about him missing too many family events. He was still in his work clothes, concrete dust on his boots. Our eyes met, and he gave me a small nod. The judge called my case. The prosecutor rattled off the charges while I stood there in orange, trying not to look like a criminal. My lawyer argued for release on my own recognizance. Stable job, no record, single father. The prosecutor pushed back, mentioning the amount found and the safety of the child. Your Honor, the prosecutor said, given the quantity discovered and the fact that there's a minor child in the home, the state requests bail be set at $15,000. $15,000. Might as well have been $1 million. I saw Mom bury her face in Dad's shoulder. Then Ryan stood up. I'll post it, Your Honor. The judge looked over his glasses. And you are? Ryan Coleman, his brother. 20 minutes later, I was signing paperwork while Ryan handed over a cashier's check. We walked out of the courthouse in silence. In the parking lot, he finally spoke. Mom called me crying, said my nephew was in jail for substances. He shook his head. I know we haven't talked, but I know you. You didn't do this. My throat felt tight. Thanks, Rye. Lily needs you. That's all that matters right now. He handed me his truck keys. Your car's probably still impounded. Take mine. I'll catch a ride with Mom and Dad. The drive to my parents' house felt surreal. 3 days ago, I was taking Lily to school. Now, I was out on bail for substance possession. When I pulled up, the front door flew open and Lily came running out, still in her pajamas. Daddy! She slammed into me, arms wrapped around my waist. I knew you'd come back. I told everyone you didn't do anything wrong. I held her tight, breathing in the smell of her strawberry shampoo. Over her head, I saw my parents in the doorway. Mom was crying again, but these were different tears. Inside, Lily wouldn't let go of my hand. She'd drawn pictures while I was gone, mostly of us together, with Mom as an angel watching over us. One showed a figure labeled Mean Coach Morrison with a big red X through it. Sweetheart, I said carefully, what made you draw Coach Morrison like that? Her face scrunched up. He's the one who put that stuff in our car. I know it. He hates us because of the Saturday soccer. Plus, Kevin's mom said she saw his truck near our house that morning. Kevin's mom. I filed that away. Potential witness. Dad pulled me aside while Mom made lunch. That substance test you kept asking for? Your lawyer says it came back negative, but the prosecutor's pushing forward anyway. Says the field test is enough. Of course he was. I wondered how much Morrison had to do with that too. My phone had been returned with my belongings, and it was buzzing nonstop. Texts, missed calls, voicemails. Most were from parents at the Saturday clinic, asking if it was still happening. Some were supportive, others weren't. One voicemail made my blood run cold. It was from Jennifer, one of the Saturday clinic moms. Mike, I'm so sorry, but I can't bring Emma anymore. Coach Morrison called all of us. He said you're dealing substances, that you endangered Lily, that the clinic isn't safe. I don't believe it, but my husband, he doesn't want Emma around any drama. I'm really sorry. I played the next message, similar story, and the next, and the next. Morrison wasn't just trying to get me arrested. He was systematically destroying everything I'd built. Lily must have seen my face because she squeezed my hand tighter. It's okay, Daddy. The kids who really need help will still come, just like I needed help after Mommy died. That afternoon, I met with a real lawyer, one Ryan had contacted. Patricia Reeves was everything the public defender wasn't. Experienced, sharp, and expensive. Ryan had already put down the retainer. The good news, she said, reviewing the police report, is their case is thin. Anonymous tip, no witnesses to you actually possessing or using substances, and you passed a substance test. The bad news is that field tests are notoriously unreliable, but juries don't always know that. I told her everything about Morrison. She took notes, asked follow-up questions, and actually believed me. We need evidence of his vendetta against you, witnesses to his threats, documentation of his discrimination against single-parent families, anything that shows motive for framing you. That evening, while Lily did homework at my parents' kitchen table, I started making calls. First to Kevin's mom, who confirmed she'd seen a white truck like Morrison's on our street around 3 a.m. that Tuesday. She'd been up with the baby and thought it was odd, but didn't think much of it until my arrest. Then I called Maria's aunt. She was hesitant at first, but then the dam broke. Morrison had told her that Maria would never get playing time because kids from broken homes dragged the team down. She'd been too intimidated to complain before, but now she was ready to talk. By Friday afternoon, I had statements from 6 different families, all with similar stories, all with kids Morrison had benched for reasons that had nothing to do with soccer. But the real breakthrough came from an unexpected source. I was at the grocery store with Lily, trying to ignore the stares and whispers when a teenage girl approached us. us. She looked familiar, but I couldn't place her. Mr. Coleman? I'm Stephanie Morrison, the coach's daughter. I instinctively pulled Lily closer. What do you want? She glanced around nervously. I heard what happened, what my dad did to you, and I want to help. We talked in the parking lot while Lily played on her phone in the car. Stephanie was 16 now, but when she was Lily's age, her own father had benched her for an entire season. I had anxiety after my parents divorced, she said, voice shaking. Dad said anxious kids were weak, that I was embarrassing him. He made me quit soccer entirely rather than let people see his daughter on the bench. She pulled out her phone. I still have texts from him, and I know about other kids he's done this to. Kids whose parents he had problems with. By Saturday morning, word had spread about my arrest. Only 12 kids showed up to the clinic, down from 40, but those 12 needed it more than ever. Their parents formed a protective circle, keeping out anyone who came to gawk or cause trouble. I was showing them passing drills when Morrison's truck pulled up. He didn't get out, just sat there watching, taking pictures, making his presence known. Don't look at him, I told the kids. Focus on the ball. But I could feel his eyes on us the entire hour. That afternoon, Patricia called with news. The prosecutor was playing hardball, refusing to drop charges despite the negative substance test. Someone was putting pressure on him to pursue the case. 3 guesses who, I muttered. We need more than speculation, she said. But I have an investigator looking into Morrison's background. Turns out this isn't his first rodeo with problem parents. Sunday was Lily's game. I wasn't sure if I should go, given everything, but Lily begged. She wanted to show Mom in heaven that she was still playing. We arrived to find the other parents split into 2 camps, those who moved away from us and those who made a point of saying hello. Morrison was in full form, barking orders at the girls during warm-ups. When he saw us, his face darkened. He called Lily over and said something that made her shoulders slump. She jogged back to me, trying not to cry. He says I can't play today. Says it's for the safety of the other girls because you're out on bail. I started toward him, fury building, but 3 dads stepped between us, not threatening, just there. One of them, Tom, whose daughter was Morrison's star player, spoke quietly. Not here, Mike, not in front of the kids. We all know this is wrong, but don't give him more ammunition. I backed down, but only because Lily needed me to. We sat on the bleachers and watched her teammates play while she sat on the bench in her uniform, tears streaming down her face. Monday morning brought a new crisis. I'd been suspended from work pending the outcome of my case. Company policy, they said. Nothing personal. Just couldn't have someone facing substance charges handling client accounts. The walls were closing in, legal bills mounting, job gone, reputation in tatters. Morrison was winning. Then Stephanie called. She'd found something. We met at a coffee shop on the other side of town. She had a manila folder thick with papers. I did some digging, she said. Found other parents my dad had problems with over the years. 3 of them had incidents. One got a DUI after leaving a team party where they swear they only had 1 beer. Another had CPS called on them after my dad claimed he saw bruises. The investigation found nothing. She slid a piece of paper across the table. And then there's this, from 5 years ago. Another single dad who started his own soccer group after my dad benched his kid. 2 weeks later, cops found steroids in his gym bag at work. My hands shook as I read the article. The man had lost his job, his reputation ruined. The charges were eventually dropped, but the damage was done. Where is he now? I asked. Moved to Colorado, but I have his number. He's willing to talk to your lawyer. That evening, while I helped Lily with homework, my phone rang. Patricia. My investigator just sent me something interesting. Morrison's been making large cash withdrawals. One for $2,000 the day before your arrest. To pay someone to plant the substances? Possibly, but we need more. Keep documenting everything. Every interaction, every witness, every piece of evidence. We're building a pattern here. Tuesday's mail brought another blow. A letter from the soccer league. Due to concerns about the Saturday clinic's safety and leadership, they were revoking my permit to use the park. Morrison had gotten to them too. I crumpled the letter, then smoothed it out. Evidence. Everything was evidence. That night, I tucked Lily in, and she asked the question I'd been dreading. Daddy, are we going to be okay? I kissed her forehead, smelling that strawberry shampoo. Yeah, baby. We're going to be okay. Sometimes bad people do bad things, but the truth always comes out. Like in Mom's stories? Just like in Mom's stories. She fell asleep clutching the soccer ball Sarah had given her for her 8th birthday. I sat there watching her sleep, thinking about my wife. Sarah would have known how to handle this. She was the fighter, the one who never backed down. Even when cancer was calling her, she fought. I could fight too. For Lily. For all those kids Morrison had hurt. My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. This is Diane Morrison, Bradley's ex-wife. I heard about what's happening. We need to talk. I stared at the text for a long moment before typing back when and where. The response came immediately. Tomorrow, 10 a.m. Coffee shop on Maple Street. Come alone. The next morning, I dropped Lily at school early. She clung to me a little longer than usual, and I noticed other parents watching us. Some with sympathy, others with suspicion. The whispers followed us everywhere now. Diane Morrison was already waiting when I arrived. She looked tired, worn down in a way that spoke of long battles fought and lost. Her hands trembled slightly as she lifted her coffee cup. Thank you for coming, she said, gesturing to the seat across from her. I wasn't sure you would. I sat down, studying her face. Why did you want to meet? She took a deep breath. Because what Bradley is doing to you, he did it to me during our divorce. Only I couldn't prove it. My pulse quickened. What do you mean? 5 years ago, during our custody battle, steroids suddenly appeared in my car. I'd never touched the stuff in my life, but there they were, right before a crucial hearing. Her voice cracked. I lost primary custody of Stephanie because of it. I leaned forward. Did you tell anyone? The police? Of course I did. But Bradley had been laying groundwork for months, telling people I was unstable, unbelievable, that I was obsessed with fitness. By the time those substances appeared, everyone was ready to believe it. She pulled out a folder, but I kept everything, bank records mostly. She spread the papers across the table, large cash withdrawals, just like Patricia's investigator had found. One for $3,000, 2 days before the steroids were discovered. I hired my own investigator back then, Diane continued. He found out Bradley had been meeting with some shady people at the gym, but without concrete proof. I photographed every document with my phone. Would you be willing to testify about this? She nodded slowly. I've been waiting 5 years for someone else to see who he really is. I just wish I could have warned you sooner. After our meeting, I called Patricia immediately. She was excited about the new evidence, but cautioned me to be careful. Morrison was clearly escalating, and desperate people did desperate things. That afternoon, I picked up Lily from school to find her holding a note from her teacher. My stomach sank as I read it. There had been an incident at recess. Some kids had been pushing Lily, calling her father a substance dealer. She'd pushed back, and now there was a mandatory parent-teacher conference scheduled. I'm sorry, Daddy, Lily said, her voice small. They kept saying mean things about you. I hugged her tight. You have nothing to be sorry for, sweetheart. Sometimes standing up for what's right means getting in trouble. The conference was scheduled for Friday. Another thing to worry about. Another way Morrison's poison was spreading through our lives. That evening, Stephanie Morrison called with urgent news. My dad's been on the phone all day. He's calling other coaches, trying to get them to file complaints about your clinic being unsafe and unlicensed. How do you know this? I can hear him from my room. He's not exactly quiet when he's angry. She paused. There's something else. I found an old video on my phone from a tournament 2 years ago. Dad was hammered at the hotel bar, bragging to another coach about how he handles problem parents. My heart raced. What did he say exactly? That he has ways of making them go away. That sometimes you have to plant a little evidence to protect the integrity of the team. Her voice dropped. I didn't think much of it at the time, but now. Can you send me that video? Already did. Check your email. I watched the video 3 times. Morrison was clearly intoxicated, his words slurred but audible. The other coach looked uncomfortable as Morrison went on about taking care of troublemakers and how a little planted evidence goes a long way. It wasn't a smoking GN, but it was something. Thursday brought more bad news. 2 other coaches had indeed filed complaints about the Saturday clinic. The Parks Department called to confirm that my permit was officially revoked, effective immediately. No more clinic, no more safe space for those kids Morrison had rejected. I was sitting at my parents' kitchen table, trying to figure out our next move, when Ryan showed up unexpectedly. We need to talk, he said, his face serious. I've been doing some digging of my own. He sat down across from me. Remember Tom, the dad who stepped between you and Morrison at the game? His wife works at the school district office. She told him something interesting. I waited, tension building. Morrison's been pushing for Lily to be removed from the team entirely. He's claiming you're a danger to the other children, that your presence creates an unsafe environment. Ryan's jaw tightened. But here's the thing. Tom's wife also said Morrison's assistant coach's wife works for CPS. The pieces clicked into place. You think Morrison's planning something with CPS? I think he's already started. Tom's wife saw a report being filed about bruising on Lily's arms. My blood ran cold. There had been bruising from the kids pushing her at recess, but taken out of context. When? I asked. Report was filed yesterday. You'll probably get a visit soon. I put my head in my hands. First the substances, then my job, now this. Morrison was systematically destroying my life, and Lily was caught in the crossfire. Friday morning's parent-teacher conference was tense. Mrs. Ranch, no relation, despite the shared last name, was sympathetic but firm. The pushing incident couldn't be ignored, and she was concerned about Lily's emotional state. She's been through so much, the teacher said gently. Losing her mother, and now all this stress at home. I bristled at the implication. The stress at home is because someone planted substances in my car. Lily knows I'm innocent. Mrs. Ranch's expression softened. I believe you, Mr. Coleman, but I'm required to report any signs of distress or unusual bruising. I'm sorry, but I had to file a report with CPS. There it was, another piece of Morrison's plan falling into place. That afternoon, while Lily was at my parents' house, I met with Patricia again. We went through all the evidence, Diane's documents, Stephanie's video, the witness statements from other parents. It painted a clear picture of Morrison's pattern of behavior, but Patricia warned me it might not be enough. We need something more concrete, she said. The video helps, but Morrison could claim he was just hammered and talking nonsense. We need proof of him actually planning or executing the frame-up. What about the security footage my neighbor mentioned? The one showing Morrison's truck? I've requested it, but these things take time. And even if we get it, grainy footage of a truck isn't definitive proof. I left her office feeling frustrated. The truth was on our side, but the legal system moved slowly, and Morrison kept attacking. Saturday morning arrived with no clinic to run. Lily and I went to the park anyway, just to kick the ball around. Several families showed up too, having not heard about the permit revocation. I had to turn them away, watching disappointment fill their children's faces. This isn't right, one mother said. Those kids need this clinic. My son has never been happier than these last few weeks. Morrison's truck cruised by slowly, windows down. He made eye contact with me and smiled. The bastard was gloating. That afternoon, I got a call from an unknown number. It was Nick, the father from Colorado who'd been framed with steroids 5 years ago. Stephanie Morrison gave me your lawyer's number, he said. I already talked to her, told her everything, but I wanted to call you directly too. I appreciate that, I said. Listen, I know what you're going through. The isolation, the whispers, the feeling like you're going crazy because everyone believes the lie. His voice was heavy with memory. I lost everything. My job, my reputation. Had to move states to start over. How did you cope? Honestly, I almost didn't, but my kid needed me, so I kept going. That's all you can do. Keep going for Lily. We talked for another 20 minutes. He confirmed that Morrison had followed the same pattern. First the benching, then the confrontation, then the planted evidence. The only difference was that Nick hadn't known to document everything like I was doing. Sunday was Lily's game again. I debated keeping her home, but she begged to go. She wanted to be with her teammates, even if she couldn't play. We arrived to find the team divided. Some parents pulled their daughters away when they saw us. Others made a point of greeting Lily warmly. Morrison ignored us completely during warm-ups, focusing on his good players. During the game, I noticed a woman I didn't recognize taking photos, not of the game, but of me and Lily. When I made eye contact, she quickly looked away. CPS, Ryan said quietly, appearing beside me. Tom's wife gave me a heads up. They're documenting everything for their investigation. I felt sick. Even here, at a children's soccer game, we were being watched and judged. The game ended with Morrison's team winning, but the victory felt hollow. Half the team had barely played, sitting on the bench while the intact family kids ran up the score. Monday morning, the CPS investigator arrived. She introduced herself as Victoria Lawson, and I immediately recognized the name. Morrison's assistant coach's wife, just as Ryan had warned. She was professional but cold, examining our home with critical eyes. Lily clung to my side as Victoria asked probing questions about our daily routine, my work situation, and the recent arrest. I understand there was an incident at school, she said, making notes. Lily pushed another child? She was being bullied about the false substance charges, I explained. She defended herself. And these bruises on her arms? Lily spoke up before I could. The kids at school keep grabbing me and pushing me. They call my dad bad names. Victoria made more notes. I see. And how does that make you feel, Lily? Sad and mad. Because my dad didn't do anything wrong, but nobody believes us. The interview lasted 2 hours. Victoria examined Lily's room, our kitchen, even checked the refrigerator to ensure we had food. It was humiliating and invasive, but I kept my temper in check. Any sign of anger would be used against me. After she left, I called Patricia immediately. She wasn't surprised about the CPS connection, but said we could use it to our advantage. Document everything about this visit. If we can prove Morrison orchestrated this through his assistant coach, it's another piece of the pattern. Tuesday brought an unexpected ally. Tom, the father who'd intervened at the game, called to say he and several other parents wanted to meet. They were tired of Morrison's tactics and ready to speak up. We met at Tom's house that evening. 6 families were there, all with stories about Morrison's discrimination and manipulation. Tom's daughter was one of the star players, but even he had seen enough. My daughter comes home crying because her friends can't play, he said. She doesn't understand why some kids sit on the bench every game. It's not right. Another parent, Cole, shared how Morrison had threatened to bench his son after Cole questioned a coaching decision. He said if I didn't fall in line, my kid would never see the field again. By the end of the meeting, all 6 families agreed to provide statements to Patricia. Some even had text messages and emails from Morrison that showed his true nature. Wednesday morning, Stephanie called with urgent news. Dad's meeting with someone today. I heard him on the phone arranging it. Something about finishing the job and making sure you can't cause any more trouble. Where's the meeting? The old warehouse district. 2 o'clock. Dad thinks I'm at school, but I skipped. I'm going to follow him. Stephanie, no. That's dangerous. I'm already here. I'll be careful, but we need proof of what he's doing. I wanted to stop her, but she'd already hung up. I spent the next 2 hours pacing, worried about what might happen. Finally, she called back. I got it. Video of Dad meeting with some sketchy guy, handing over an envelope. The guy said something about making sure the problem goes away permanently. Send me everything and get out of there, I said. Already gone. Sending now. The video was grainy, but clear enough. Morrison handing over what looked like cash to a man in a leather jacket. Their conversation was partially audible, with Morrison saying he needed more pressure applied, and the other man nodding. I forwarded everything to Patricia, who immediately called. This is good, but we need to be careful. Morrison's escalating, and that's dangerous. Thursday's mail brought another blow. A letter from Morrison's lawyer. He was filing for an emergency custody hearing regarding Lily, claiming I was an unfit parent who was endangering my child. The hearing was set for Monday, 4 days away. I felt the walls closing in. The substance charges, the job loss, the CPS investigation, and now this. Morrison was throwing everything he had at me. But that afternoon, something shifted. The local news ran a story about youth sports and the pressure on kids. They interviewed several families, including some from our Saturday clinic. While they didn't mention Morrison by name, the implications were clear. Coaches who discriminated against children were damaging the community. My phone started ringing. Parents who'd been silent were suddenly ready to talk. The whispers were changing from suspicion to support. Friday afternoon, Patricia called with news. The prosecutor's starting to have doubts about the substance case. Too many inconsistencies, and your negative substance test is hard to ignore. He's not dropping charges yet, but he's wavering. It was the first good news in weeks. That evening, while Lily did homework, I got another text from Diane Morrison. Bradley's panicking. He knows something's shifting. Be careful. He's most dangerous when he's cornered. Saturday came with no clinic to run, but that didn't stop families from showing up at the park. Without a formal permit, we couldn't use the fields, but nobody could stop us from gathering in the parking lot. I taught basic footwork drills on the asphalt while parents stood guard, watching for Morrison or city officials. The kids didn't care about the location. They were just happy to be together, playing. Morrison drove by twice, his face twisted with rage, but he didn't stop, probably realizing that confronting a group of 30 minority families wouldn't end well for him. Sunday was quiet. Too quiet. Lily and I spent the day at my parents' house, trying to pretend everything was normal, but tomorrow was the custody hearing, and the weight of it hung over everything. That night, I tucked Lily in and she grabbed my hand. "Daddy, what if they take me away?" "They won't," I promised, praying I was right. "Tomorrow, we're going to tell the truth, and the truth is going to win." Like in Mom's stories? Exactly like in Mom's stories. But as I sat in the dark living room afterward, I wasn't so sure. Morrison had been playing a long game, setting up dominoes that were all falling my way. Tomorrow would determine everything. Whether Lily stayed with me, whether Morrison's lies would finally be exposed, whether we could rebuild our lives. My phone buzzed one last time. A text from Stephanie. "Good luck tomorrow. I'll be there. So will others. You're not alone in this." I looked at the photo of Sarah on the mantle. She'd fought cancer with everything she had, never giving up even when the odds were impossible. Tomorrow, I'd fight for our daughter with that same determination. Morrison thought he'd destroyed everything I'd built. He was about to learn that some things, like a father's love and a community's sense of justice, couldn't be destroyed so easily. The custody hearing would change everything. One way or another, tomorrow would be the beginning of the end. Monday morning arrived with a knot in my stomach. I dressed in my only suit while Lily ate breakfast quietly at my parents' kitchen table. She'd barely touched her cereal, pushing it around the bowl with her spoon. Ryan picked us up at 8:30. He'd taken the day off work, and Tom had organized a carpool for the other families who planned to attend. Morrison had no idea what was coming. The courthouse steps were crowded when we arrived, not with media or spectators, but with families from the Saturday clinic, parents from Morrison's team, and even some coaches from neighboring districts. Stephanie stood near the entrance with Diane, both looking determined but nervous. Inside the family court waiting area, Morrison sat with his lawyer, a sharp-dressed woman who kept checking her phone. He glanced up when we entered, his face darkening at the sight of the crowd filing in behind us. Patricia met us at the security checkpoint. She'd spent the weekend preparing, and it showed in the thick folder of documents she carried. "The judge assigned to us is fair," she said quietly. "She doesn't tolerate games. The bailiff called our case at 9:15. Judge Chen, a no-nonsense woman in her 50s, reviewed the emergency petition while we took our seats. Morrison's lawyer stood first, painting a picture of me as an unstable substance user who'd endangered my child and created an unsafe environment. "Your Honor," she said, "Mr. Coleman was arrested for cocaine possession. He's currently out on bail, facing serious criminal charges. His daughter has been in physical altercations at school, showing clear signs of distress. We believe immediate intervention is necessary for the child's safety." Patricia rose slowly. "Your Honor, we have evidence that Mr. Morrison orchestrated not only the false substance charges against my client, but has engaged in a pattern of targeting and harassing single parents for years." Morrison's lawyer objected immediately, but Judge Chen waved her off. "I'll hear the evidence." Stephanie took the stand first. Her hands shook as she described her father's treatment of kids from divorced families, his belief that they were inherently weak. She played the video from her phone, Morrison's drunken confession filling the courtroom. "He told me I was an embarrassment," she said, voice cracking. "Said anxiety made me worthless to the team. He's done this to dozens of kids." Morrison's face had gone from red to white. His lawyer kept whispering urgently in his ear, but he waved her away. Diane testified next, detailing the planted steroids during their custody battle. She presented bank records, the matching cash withdrawals, the timeline that mirrored my situation exactly. "Bradley destroys anyone who challenges him," she said, looking directly at her ex-husband. "He nearly destroyed me. I won't let him do it to another family." Nick testified via video call from Colorado, his story adding another layer to Morrison's pattern. Then came the parade of parents, 6 families detailing Morrison's discrimination, his threats, his manipulation of their children. Tom's testimony hit particularly hard. "My daughter is one of the good players," he said, "but she comes home crying because her friends can't play. She asked me why Coach Morrison hates kids without 2 parents. How do you explain that kind of cruelty to a child?" Patricia then presented the security footage from my neighbor. Grainy, but clear enough. Morrison's truck on our street at 3 a.m., a figure matching his build near my car. Combined with Stephanie's video of him paying someone in the warehouse district, the picture became clearer. Victoria Lawson, the CPS investigator, was called to testify about her report. Under Patricia's questioning, she admitted her connection to Morrison's assistant coach, acknowledged that the bruises on Lily were consistent with playground bullying, not abuse. Her investigation had found no evidence of neglect or danger in our home. "But you still recommended monitoring," Patricia pressed. Victoria shifted uncomfortably. "That was the initial recommendation, yes. Based solely on Mr. Morrison's allegations and the pending substance charges? Among other factors." "What other factors?" Victoria glanced at Morrison. "Concerns raised by community members." "Community members connected to Mr. Morrison?" "Objection," Morrison's lawyer called out, but Judge Chen had heard enough. "I'd like to hear from the child," the judge said. My heart sank. I'd hoped to keep Lily off the stand, but Patricia had prepared her for this possibility. She walked to the witness chair, looking small but determined. "Lily," Judge Chen said gently, "can you tell me about living with your dad?" Lily's voice was clear. "He takes care of me. He makes my lunch every day with notes inside, just like Mom used to. He helps with homework and reads to me at night. He started the Saturday soccer clinic so kids like me could play." "Kids like you?" "Kids who Coach Morrison won't let play because we don't have 2 parents anymore." Her voice got stronger. "He told me I was weak because my mom died, but my dad says I'm the strongest person he knows. Are you afraid of your father? No, Lily's eyes flashed. I'm afraid of losing him. He's all I have left. Morrison's lawyer tried to cross-examine, asking about the arrest, the substances found in the car. Lily's response stunned the courtroom. Coach Morrison put them there, she said simply. Kevin's mom saw his truck. Stephanie has videos. Everyone knows he hates my dad for helping the kids he threw away. Objection! Morrison's lawyer was on her feet, but Morrison himself stood up, his face purple with rage. That's enough! This is ridiculous. I'm trying to protect children from a substance dealer and his damaged daughter. The courtroom erupted, parents shouting, the bailiff moving toward Morrison, Judge Chen banging her gavel. In the chaos, Morrison pointed at me. You destroyed everything. My team, my reputation, everything I built. You and your pathetic daughter. Mr. Morrison, Judge Chen's voice cut through the noise. You will sit down immediately or be held in contempt. Morrison's lawyer physically pulled him back into his seat, but the damage was done. His mask had slipped, revealing the ugly truth underneath. Patricia recalled Stephanie to the stand. This time, she had new evidence. Text messages from her father sent that morning, threatening her if she testified. Screenshots of him trying to coordinate stories with other coaches. Phone records showing dozens of calls to parents, spreading lies about me. The final witness was unexpected. The prosecutor from my criminal case had come to observe, and Judge Chen asked him to approach. Given what I've heard today, he said, my office will be dropping all charges against Mr. Coleman and opening an investigation into Mr. Morrison for filing a false police report, evidence tampering, and conspiracy. Morrison shot to his feet again, but this time the bailiff was ready. As they restrained him, he screamed at me. This isn't over. You think you've won? I'll destroy you. Judge Chen had seen enough. Mr. Morrison, you're in contempt. Bailiff, remove him. She turned to his lawyer. Your client's petition is not only denied, but I'm referring this matter to the district attorney for criminal investigation. I'm also ordering that Mr. Morrison have no contact with Mr. Coleman or his daughter. As they led Morrison out, still shouting threats, Judge Chen addressed the courtroom. I've seen many custody cases, but rarely have I seen such a clear attempt to weaponize the legal system against an innocent family. Mr. Coleman, your daughter is lucky to have you. Outside the courthouse, the crowd of families surrounded us. Kids who'd been benched, parents who'd been intimidated, all finally free from Morrison's tyranny. Lily held my hand tight, a huge smile on her face. Patricia pulled me aside. The criminal case will take time, but with the prosecutor dropping charges and opening an investigation into Morrison, you're clear. Get your job back. Rebuild your life. That afternoon, I called my boss. He'd already heard about the dropped charges and the investigation into Morrison. We never should have suspended you, he said. Can you start back Monday? The soccer league called next. Morrison had been suspended pending investigation, and they needed an interim coach for the team. Would I consider taking over? I looked at Lily, playing in my parents' backyard with some kids from the clinic who'd come to celebrate. Only if every kid gets to play, I said. That's exactly what we want to hear. Tuesday morning, the news of Morrison's arrest spread through the soccer community. He'd been charged with filing a false report, conspiracy to plant evidence, and witness intimidation. His coaching certifications were under review. The other coaches who'd filed complaints about my clinic quietly withdrew them. At the first practice under my leadership, 43 kids showed up. Not just the original team, but kids from all over who'd heard about our inclusive approach. We divided them into age groups, assigned parent volunteers as assistant coaches, and let them play. Lily scored 2 goals in the first scrimmage, not because she was the best player, but because her teammates passed to her, included her, celebrated with her. The joy on her face was worth everything we'd been through. Over the next weeks, more details emerged about Morrison's past. 3 other families came forward with similar stories. His ex-assistant coach confessed to helping him plant evidence in exchange for promises of head coaching positions. The investigation expanded. Morrison's trial took 6 months. Diane, Stephanie, Nick, and a dozen other witnesses testified about his pattern of abuse and manipulation. The security footage, the videos, the bank records, it all painted a clear picture. The jury deliberated for less than 2 hours. Guilty on all counts. 18 months in prison, 3 years probation, lifetime ban from coaching youth sports. He was also ordered to pay restitution to all the families he'd targeted. The day of his sentencing, I was at the park with our expanded soccer program. We now had 6 teams across different age groups, all committed to the simple principle that every child deserves to play. Lily was helping me coach the younger kids, teaching them the same drills I'd taught her. Dad, she said during a water break, do you think Mom can see us? I looked at the field full of laughing children, at the parents who'd become a real community, at my daughter who'd found her strength through the worst year of our lives. Yeah, baby, I think she can, and I think she's proud.